Hey, what's up YouTube? Today's going to be an interesting video. I'll be making a pair of the world's blackest sneakers. I've been seeing a lot about these super black paints recently and it looks impressive, but I'm curious how they would hold up with a pair of leather kicks. I've never used this paint before and I have no idea how it will end up, but hang with me for a few minutes while I sacrifice these AF1 mids in the interest of science. Okay, let's get started. As I mentioned, I've been seeing a lot of hype surrounding these new acrylic paints for a couple of years now. I've watched people painting fruit and random household items. I even saw someone paint their car. But pretty much everything I've seen has been a hard surface, and I haven't seen anyone do an entire shoe. It's probably for a good reason, but we'll soon find out. There's a few types of this paint on the market. There's Vanna Black, which claims to be the darkest paint, absorbing the most light. Then there's Musu Black, which also makes the same claim and is said to absorb 99.4% of visible light. But I decided to go with this Black 3.0 that, you guessed it, also claims to be the world's darkest black. This product is from a company called Culture Hustle. After a little research, the two standouts were the Musu Black acrylic in a 3.4 ounce bottle for $49 to $69 US, and this Black 3.0 for $29 US in a 5 ounce bottle. I couldn't really find a major difference between the two, so I opted for the Black 3.0 due to price and quantity. Including shipping and tax, the price came to $38.98 US. It was the more affordable option, but almost $40 for a 5 ounce container of paint is a bit much. Plus, Culture Hustle took over a week to even ship it, which was kind of annoying. I will say it comes in a very nice package and the overall attention to detail is good. They claim to be the blackest black paint in the world, so I'm expecting good results. To start, I pulled this 12-year-old pair of Air Force One mids out the back of my closet. They're a little busted, but I'll clean them up, remove some of the creasing, and prep them for paint.
The next day.
Okay, they look ready, and they actually cleaned up pretty good. So much that I almost don't want to get paint on them, but I can't lose sight of my goal. After removing the laces and using some leather deglazer to remove the factory finish, I'll shake up the bottle and get started. The company suggests using this paint in a room temperature environment, nothing too cold or too hot, or you run the risk of ruining the final finish. If there's enough paint left over, I'm also going to mix it with some GAC 900, which is a heat fabric painting medium. Basically, it makes the paint more flexible when using it on fabrics. I'll mix that in with the paint and dip in the old laces to see how they turn out. As suggested by the manufacturer, I'm laying this down in very thin coats. After each coat, I'll hit it with my heat gun on low and speed up the drying process. Culture Hustle also made a note to allow each coat to dry completely before applying another, so that's what I'm doing. Takes a little longer, but hopefully it'll be worth it in the end. Okay, I've added my first coat and it looks like a big old mess. I'm starting to understand why no one has used these on kicks before. It's a very thick acrylic paint and it's a pain to lay down evenly. It clumps up and leaves a lot of lines in the paint. Luckily, it's so dark that when I'm done, I don't think a lot of the mistakes will be visible. It also sucks for painting fabrics, like the back of the tongue and parts of the sock liner. It just soaked right in and it took a lot of paint to cover these areas. While adding the second coat, I noticed the more it dries, the darker it starts to look. Now that I'm getting some coverage, I can feel just how matte this finish is. It has no gloss or shimmer at all, and it kind of feels like a chalkboard. Once it's dry, this finish will scratch very easily. Simply running my fingernail over it will leave a scratch, and just touching it will leave a mark. But I'm pretty good about avoiding mishaps, so I'm not too worried. I'm more concerned about chipping and flaking when I wear them, and I look forward to seeing how they hold up. All in, I will apply 2 to 3 coats and then go around and do some light touch-ups. The second coat is applied and dry. It might not show on camera, but after applying the second coat, I could really see the black get even blacker. It's pretty amazing, and I've never used a paint like this. Check it out. It really does trap the light and almost looks like a nubuck material. There's no reflection at all, and you could barely see any of the details on the sneaker. Under the right conditions, it just looks like a shadow with the sole in check. It's kind of trippy, and I hope that shows on camera. Okay, I've done my coats and a bunch of touch-ups. Now I'll go around with my razor blade and scrape off any of the paint that bled onto the midsoles in check. This is a tedious process, but it makes all the difference. Next, I'll take my deglazer and a few cotton balls to remove any paint I got on the midsole in check while painting. Normally, after I paint a pair of sneakers, I seal everything with a clear coat finish, but I won't be doing that with these because I'm afraid the clear coat will make these shiny and kill the effect. As promised, I'm going to see what happens when I dip these laces. I'm adding the GAC 900 to the paint so the laces will bend and flex without being too stiff, but I have no idea how this chemical will react to the paint, so let's find out. Okay, here they are. The black laces are dry. They are pretty stiff, but overall they look cool from a distance. They're not as black as the sneakers, but whatever. Let's see how they look on the kicks. Not too bad, and they are definitely dark, just not as black as the finish on the kicks. Either way, these shoes are very dark. Check them out next to a standard pair of black kicks. You can really see the difference. Here they are next to a pair of black nubuck, and here they are next to some shiny black fabric KD8 woven wonders. These are fire, by the way. Now that they're completely done, let's do a wear test. I'll rock these around town for a few days, see how they hold up. Okay, so I wore these for 3 days. I wore them while driving, running errands. I even wore these to the gym a couple times. The paint held up much better than I expected. The finish tends to smudge and scratch from the slightest touch, but overall they look pretty cool. Either way, it was a fun experiment, and I could say without question that these are the darkest kicks I ever owned. In conclusion, this paint can be used on kicks, and the effect is nothing like I've seen before. But if I ever did use this on another pair, I would limit the use of this paint to specific areas that don't bend, like the swoosh or the heel area. I'm sure over time they will develop a more stretchable version that will work better with apparel and footwear, but for now, this is the best option we have. That's my video on the world's blackest paint. I hope you liked it. If you did, I ask that you please click the like button, please subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on my latest videos. You can also check me out on Instagram at E21Life. I'm always posting random content there. As always, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. And until next time, stay safe, everyone. Peace.